Hi, everyone. How are you doing on this wonderful July evening? I kind of like days like this where it's kind of not too hot outside, but it's cool and the breeze is coming in through the window. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lois Godot, and I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor. And I'm also the founder of the Facebook group Resilient Mosaic Step Parents and also the coaching program Mosaic Transformation Academy. So today I'm on two of my platforms. I'm on my YouTube channel, which is Ask Lois the Relatable Therapist. And if you are on my YouTube page, go ahead and click the subscribe button and click and send it to any of your followers so they can hear this. And if you're on my Instagram followers, go ahead and send it out to your Instagram followers. And so today, the title of this live is Nacho Parenting an Option? Is Nacho Parenting an Option? And I like when I hear about different trends because this is a trend that's out there when it comes to blended families. I like kind of investigating and seeing what it's about. So I've been in different Facebook groups and I'll hear parents saying, when a child is difficult, to go ahead, they're not your child anyway. You don't have to be bothered with them. And I thought that was kind of cruel. I'm like, well, what is this nacho parenting? This is not your child. So I kind of looked it up. And the founder that actually created the Nacho Parenting, she was having difficulty in her blended family relationship. And so the kids were driving her crazy, she said, and she was constantly getting after them. They weren't listening to her. And so she went to her counselor, and the counselor kept telling her, these are not your children. These are not your children. And that's when it dawned on her that these are not your children. And so she came up, her and her husband, with this whole nacho parenting technique. And so that's how Nacho Parenting started in a nutshell. So my sister-in-law, she's a very good cook. Matter of fact, she's an excellent cook. And so whenever we go out somewhere and she tastes something, she can tell if they left the oregano out or if they have more seasoning salt because she's a cook. And right away, when something is your profession, you take a more focused look at it. And so for me, when I heard about the natural parenting, when I listened to her story, because I'm a therapist and I'm also a transformation coach, the first thing I thought about was, I wonder if this parent understood about blending a family. I wonder if she understood that blending a family has its own unique challenges. And then I thought about, I wonder how long had she been in the family? Had she been in it 3 to 5 years? Because it takes 3 to 5 years for the blending process to start. So those were just some of my questions with my perceptive eye, because I'm in the field, that I thought about. And I guess I'll never know the question to that because I haven't talked to her. And also sometimes therapists, they might not understand the unique dynamics of a family. So again, I don't know if her therapist told her that, you know what, if you're 3 to 5 years, it's going to be some challenges, some things that happen in the blended family while you're trying to get this bond. I don't know. So I can't, really address that. But what I do know is that she came up with the natural parenting. And so a lot of people are saying, not your kids, not your responsibility. Not your kids, not your problem. But what she said that the real meaning of it is not your kids and not your responsibility. And so while that is true to a degree, because if you haven't adopted your stepchildren, they aren't your responsibility as far as legally. But if you are in a partnership, living in a blended family partnership, whether you're living together or in a relationship, or if you're married, the kids are your responsibility. Because in a blended relationship, you share responsibilities. Now, what needs to happen is you need to understand what are those responsibilities, but you absolutely have responsibilities in a blended family or blended relationship with those kids. If the kids get hurt and the police come to the house, you're not going to say, well, they weren't my responsibility, so I just wasn't watching them. That's not going to fly. So they are your responsibility to a degree. And again, if you're in a relationship, and I know this is how it is with me and my husband, whatever affects him is going to affect me. We're married, we're a unit. And if something hurts me, it's going to hurt him. So yes, even though they are his biological children, if something were to happen to them, they would affect me. I would feel responsible also. So just looking at that, I started to have, some questions about, I wonder how this Nacho parenting is really going to work out. Now, there are some good things about Nacho parenting that I totally agree with. I agree with the whole concept of the ex-partner to let your significant other deal with their ex-partner. Absolutely. I've said it over and over. They know that person much better than you do. And you don't have, even though they may tell you some things about the relationship, there are things that you have no clue about. And so you can't insert yourself and for you to step back. So I absolutely agree with that. But there are four areas of concern that I do have with the Nacho parenting, and I just want to go through those with you. The first one with this Nacho parenting method, it says to focus on your blended relationship or marriage, not the stepkids or the significant partner. So just focus on your marriage, focus on your relationship, and don't worry about the kids. The reason I have a problem with that is the kids are the reason that you're in a blended family relationship. If it wasn't for the kids, you wouldn't be in a blended family relationship. So to say don't focus on them, they are a significant part of this whole situation. The next thing is that I don't know of a parent, because the person that wrote this was a stepmom. I don't know of a biological mom that would have their significant other in their relationship and have them ignore their child. I don't know one that would say, we're just in this together. We're going to build our bond and we're going to forget about my child. That would absolutely be an issue right there. That would cause a problem. The whole nachoing is supposed to diffuse problems, but doing that would cause a problem. So I talked to my husband about this, and I kind of told him a little bit about the nacho parenting. And I asked him, I said, how do you, what do you think about that? He says that absolutely would not fly because his kids came with him. They're a package deal. Just like my kids came with me, they're a package deal. You can't say, I'm just going to focus on us two and I'm going to forget about your kids. And the next thing is to say, keep saying your kids and my kids, that's keeping the family separate. That's causing division in the family. I remember when my husband and I first got together, and I would say my kids and your kids, and that kept us divided. How are you blending if you're steady saying this is yours and this is mine? If you just think about logically, when you blend something, you take two different items, materials, whatever, and you put them together. You can't keep it separate and say we're blending. That makes no sense. So the next thing is, the next point that I had an issue with was creating the step parent role that works best for you and the blended family. Creating a step parent role that works best for you and the blended family. That's contradicting what you said in the first, because you said that you're not focusing on the kids, just you two. So now you're saying focus on what works best for you and the blended family. Well, you're not thinking about the kids because they make the blended family. So in essence, it's really what's working best for you. Now, I don't know if it's because the person doesn't understand that it takes 3 to 5 years. Are they saying that it's taking too long? Because I know at one point in my relationship, I was frustrated because I felt it was taking too long. I don't know if the kids are not responding the way they want them to respond, or if the parents are not communicating together. Is that the reason why they're saying that focus on creating a step parent role that works best for them? Because in the blended family, you have to understand that there are challenges. If you got in this thinking it was going to be easy sailing, you're wrong. And it's not going to be easy sailing, and you're going to constantly be frustrated. If you got into it thinking that it was going to be a short time period, every family is different. And just because you're having difficulty with the ex, with your partner's ex, that's not a reason to say I'm not going to deal with the kids because she's just too much to deal with. Or if the kids are being difficult, because the kids actually, remember I talked about in some of my other lives, they have losses that they're going through with. What's going on with the kids? Are you zeroing in and seeing what issues are they having? Or is it because it's not working for you that you want to just throw your hands up and say, not my child, so I don't have to worry about them? You need to ask yourself, is the reason why I'm so drawn to this Nacho parenting is because blending a family is difficult. And it's absolutely is going to be difficult because there are unique challenges that come with it. The third point that is made is if the child, your stepchild asks you for help, say to them, go ask your dad. So if they're asking you for help, go ask your dad. My question is, how are you establishing yourself as the authority in this relationship if everything is go ask your dad? Go ask your dad. Now, you can say, we're going to talk about this and we're going to have an agreement together, but just say go ask your dad. It looks like you have no authority in the relationship. And again, you're trying to build up that trust with that child. And so you are going to have conversations with them. If they're difficult conversations, or if it's conversations that both bio parents need to address, then you let them address it. The fourth statement that's made in this Nacho parenting that I have concern with is say nothing about or to the stepkids unless it's for sheer praise. So don't speak to them or say nothing to them unless you're praising them. To me, that feels like you're making the child feel like they're invisible. Because if I don't acknowledge you until you do something that's worthy of praise, I'm going to be ignoring you. And now, am I helping your emotional development? Because remember, I said earlier, as a step parent, you absolutely have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to help nurture that child. You have a responsibility to help that child to grow into this adult, this functioning adult that they need to grow into. So, again, how are you bonding with your child if you're ignoring them? If you're acting like they don't exist, unless they do something that you feel is worthy of praise? When I look at the definition of a family, and when I think about a family, and when you think about your family, you think about support, you think about love, you think about a sense of belonging, you think about security, you think about a person feeling important and feeling valued. Does this Nacho parenting subscribe to that belief of what a family is? And in my opinion, I don't know if it does. Like I said, there are some aspects of the Nacho parenting that I personally agree with, like the disengage when there's difficult situations, let the bio parent deal with it. Not engaging with the ex-partner, let them deal with that. Not inserting yourself, waiting so you can get that bond with the child. But you need to interact and engage with the child to get that bond. By stepping back and not saying anything to them, that's not bonding with them. The goal of the blended family should be to create a happy blended family. I don't know anything about cars. Let me put that out there right now. But I have a brother that's a mechanic. And one of the things he says is that you have to have the right tools in order to get the job done. And that's how I look at a blended family, is that you have to have the right tools. You have to know the right tools and strategies to use in order to create this blended family. If you're not using the right tools, then you're not going to have that. And by ignoring a child and acting like they don't exist and they're not my child and I'm not going to say anything to them so I can be at peace, that's not creating the family. That's not the right tools. And so for some of you, you may need the right tools. You may not know, how do I bond? How do I get this happy blended family? I never heard anyone say that I have a great relationship with my step parent because they ignored me. I have a great relationship because they ignored me. It's going to be difficult blending a family. Absolutely. It's a challenge. And while, like I said before, Nacho parenting, it may work for some people, but in my relationship, it absolutely would not work. I could not get a bond with my children if I was saying, you're not my child, I'm not going to acknowledge you. I'm not going to engage with you because things are difficult. Things are difficult in nuclear families. And in a nuclear family, you don't take a hands-off approach because your children are difficult. Like I said, when it comes to the ex-partner, you let your significant other deal with them. But when it comes to the kids, you have to learn the skills and the strategies to be able to interact and engage with them. So the question is nacho parenting an option? And if you're trying to create a healthy blended family, the answer would be no.